Now, the European Union's 27 member states have reached a deal on the bloc's next big emissions-cutting targets. That climate deal coming after a series of overnight concessions to win over reluctant capitals just in time for the UN's COP30 summit in Brazil. Our environment editor, Valerie Dekimp, joins me on set to talk a bit more about all of this. Valerie, two separate targets for slashing greenhouse gas emissions were decided here. I mean, what's in the deal?
That's right. Two separate climate goals. The first one being Europe's NDC, nationally determined contribution for 2035, setting a new goal to slash emissions between 66.25 and 72.5% compared to 1990 levels, and this by 2035. So this was a unanimous decision, not legally binding, but it sets the direction of EU climate policy for the coming 5 years. It was a requirement, however, under the Paris Agreement. All the countries that signed the accord back in 2015 had to submit a new NDC by February of this year. The vast majority didn't. So by unveiling their NDC now on the eve of COP30, the EU avoids embarrassment by showing up empty-handed to COP30 in Brazil. Now, the second goal is the bloc's emissions reduction target for 2040, and so countries agreeing to cut emissions in the EU by 90%, and this by 2040. This was a weighted majority, but it is a legally binding target.
So this deal came after months and months of negotiations, and a lot of countries were just skeptical about these proposed targets.
That's right. I mean, Hungary, Slovakia, Poland did not support the 2040 deal. Bulgaria and Belgium abstained. The rest of the 27 countries backed it. Italy was also among the most skeptical countries. France also demanding several concessions. So why skeptical? We're going to see the concessions later on. So why skeptical? The climate has taken a back seat. Defense and the economy becoming a priority for countries in the current geopolitical climate, with the misconception that greening Europe's economy will harm, its competitiveness. And to win over the skeptics, there were several big concessions, including in the deal. And the first one being, although the 90% goal that is quite ambitious remains untouched, so to speak, countries will be allowed to count international carbon credits for at least 5% of that goal. Meaning that countries will be able to outsource their pollution cuts to other countries. So, foreign countries will reduce their emissions on behalf of the European Union. So you're essentially buying your right to continue emitting more than you actually should. So that is one of the big concessions. The other concession is that there's a clause allowing the EU to adjust its 2040 target if climate policy proves to harm the economy in a way. And there's also a 1-year delay for the implementation of EU carbon market when it comes to transport emissions and heating emissions from 2027 to 2028. So quite a lot of big concessions there.